Greetings, fellow beings, and yes, it would not be a show without Tom being late. That's right, the Tuesday Tirade is coming at you live. It will now be Tuesdays at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. That gives us about an hour and 20 minutes to get into the Hollywood news, the pop culture news of the day. Again, we usually look at films and television here and talk about it from, well, my business perspective, and Tom's, critiquing it from the other side of the equation, looking at it as a fan. So a lot of you are here. Thanks for rejoining the show. I know many of you went and hung out with Captain Fandom Nerd. I wish I could have joined, but unfortunately, I had work things to do. So maybe I can join him next week when he does his Tuesday show after my bonus time. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Lots of you here. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. So many wonderful beings here. I appreciate all of you. And there's that. So I'm sure Tom will join us at some point, or at least I hope Tom will join us at some point. But I want to say hi to you guys anyway. So I'll get that out of the way. And then Tom doesn't have to listen to me talk because, it seems to irritate him. But SFX 314 Sabretooth Raptor was the first person I saw in the chat. Greetings to you. Pinochet's Helicopter Tour says, when will Tirade be now? Well, originally I was thinking noon Pacific, but then I was like, that only gives us like 50 minutes because then Mr. H's Hcast is returning next Tuesday. I thought it was this Tuesday. So again, I scheduled the show at 11:30, gives us an hour and 20 minutes, gives Captain Phantom Nerd about an hour to go through his thing or less. Bonus time won't be as long as it was today regularly. I think I'm going to try to stick right in an hour with bonus time. So that way I'm not overrunning Captain Phantom Nerd and his efforts, because I think that's cool. Darius Munchausen is in the chat. He's got his popcorn ready. It's good to see Bryant Barth back. It's been a minute. Dr. Gonzo became a member. It's great to see you, my friend. Love the picture. Thanks for being here. There's Captain Phantom Nerd. Evil Ramen's in the house. He likes the story building or world building for Avatar. I understand that. I do. The lovely Sherry is here. It's Taco Tuesday. I actually, ironically, had a soft taco for lunch. I crammed it down while I was working. We got Catsith in the house saying, hello. Hello, indeed. D-Bud said, I did not get the notification. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you searched. I'm glad you found me. And the tirade is back. Coach O'Dragon in the house. Got my alert via Twitter of this show starting. Well, that's cool. Love it. YouTube has no sense of humor, or a sense of humor. Well, let me tell you, YouTube changed some rules. I'm going to cover that a little bit in a video. Member chat from our good friend DS Ford, member for 11 months. Thank you for that long support, my friend. Says, when will the Flash movie be on HBO Max in 45 days? Possibly less, DS Ford. I have a feeling this one's going to hurt Warner Brothers. Again, I'm going to go see it on Thursday. I'm also going to go see No Hard Feelings Friday or Saturday, somewhere in there. So I'll be able to give you guys my perspective on both films. I'm not sure. I think No Hard Feelings is this weekend. I think it actually came out already. Maybe I think maybe it had limited release on the 10th. I'll have to look, but we'll see. I'll be seeing that as well. Yeah. Final Monkey's like, hello again. Hello again. How old is that picture of Culture on the thumbnail? It's pretty old. It's pretty old. I need to redo those photos. Get a lot of guff about how Tom looks in that photo. I don't know why. Cat in Philly is here. That's awesome. Hola. Morgan King showed up. Good to see you. Yeah, we gotta try to get to Captain Phantom Nerd show. Indeed. Next Tuesday. Whoa! Andor cost $250 million. Oh, and it was a terrible flop. Oh, well, I mean, it wasn't really a flop, but it wasn't widely viewed. I did not support that budget. My goodness. Do you remember when $25 million for a television show that ran 24 episodes was a lot? I do. Remember when it was $1 million an episode for Friends for each of the cast members? That was exorbitant. Gjodin Culture. Well, good to see you, Sandra Hammerschlund. Batcap is here. There's Spider Unlimited. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Good to see you here. Maestro Chi is here. There's MK Ultra again. Good to see you. Corbin Dallas, the one and only winner of the Gemini Croquette Contest. Gemini. Hey, TZ Burton's here. What's up? It's okay to fart on Toxic Man Flu. Well, I didn't exactly. And I warned everybody. Clear out. They didn't. That story's going to go around forever. Hey, you got your new comic? Mary Boy's Beefheads. Awesome. Let me know how it looks. Check out your video on it. Where's my Tom? Mexican Iron Man wants to know. I don't know where my Tom is. I texted him. I messaged him. I sent him the stream info. Is he sleeping? I hope he's okay. I imagine he's if he's sleeping, it's probably a good thing. He needs sleep. But he's often late for this show. Star Trek was made out of hot glue and popsicle sticks. Yes, the original. It was fantastic. Commander Ed Straker Shadow. Happy Tuesday. Return of Tuesday tirade. That's right. Will Bat Tom make an appearance? No live streams in honor of Drunk 3PO. No pants live stream? I'm wearing shorts. I can't do no pants. I might accidentally stand up and nah. You guys don't want to see my boxer briefs. That's weird, man. Hello, Tuesday. That's right. ENT cost $1 million per episode. Yikes. Let me put it this way. I think all of the Star Trek Continues episodes all together, I want to say it was like $750,000. I could be wrong, but it was something really small to make that many episodes of an incredibly well done honorarium of Star Trek. Vic Mignogna should be congratulated for those efforts. Hey, Elizabeth Young. Good to see you, dear. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Also remembers those budgets. That's right. Little Chad's here. What's up, Little Chad? Check out Little Chad's channel. It's some weird art thing that I always forget how to say. Hopefully he can put it in the chat. But I love Little Chad. It was a lot of fun hanging out over on his channel. Yeah, it was good times. Enterprise. Yeah, ENT. Enterprise is $1 million an episode. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. What are my thoughts on the Little Mermaid animated series? Well, I promise you, we will get to that. We will get to that Cavatanio Calorimenche. I talked a little bit on bonus time about it. I kind of just laughed at it, and then we went exploring and spelunking into who is actually behind that program, and it's exactly who you think it would be. There it is, Ascendant Art Podcast. Thank you. My brain does not work anymore. Doesn't work anymore. There's Willie. What's up, Willie? Gonzo Bergali is here. Gonzalo Bergali. Did I say Gonzo? Anyway, Gonzalo. Sorry about that. I apologize. There's the lovely Tina Bojan. I got to hang out with her briefly on Scott's stream, Sporkin News podcast stream, which was basically just an episode of Vets Talking. So, yeah. Yeah, Enterprise had a lot of potential. They really did. Yeah, and they did a lot with that $1 million. Indeed. Indeed. Hola, says the Mad Capper. Good to see you. Where is my Tom? I don't know. Look, I think some people didn't like Enterprise. I thought it was decent. I really do. Gonzo is fine. Most Americans try to say Gonza, so I prefer it. I know it's fine. I like Gonzalo Bergali. Hello, Culture. Good to see you, Tipping Barn. Yeah, a Romulan war would have been grand. True story. Oh, could you imagine going back to that point in time where you actually saw that conflict, right? And how the Federation actually really kind of unified in those moments. The United Federation of Planets, because they don't speak English anyway. Speaking of TLM, someone on G&G Daily Super Chat mentioned the movie is no longer available. What? What? Hashtag, where's Tom? Good question. He knows about the show. We talked about this. Sad face emoji. Are you familiar with San Francisco Debris? He does hilarious Star Trek reviews. I'll have to check it out. I will have to check it out. All right, here we go. Let's just jump in. I know Tom will maybe show up. See, I bring the show back. I got no Tom. That's fine. Let's get to it. All right, so here we are. Little Mermaid. Hey, that segued nicely. Little Mermaid 2023 sitting at $417 million, 717,534. It's not doing well. It's doing very poorly. In fact, they had to admit it today that this is not good. Collider is probably the most disingenuous media outlet now. I've never seen a worse take from Collider. Used to be where you could go to get like some actual information, you know. May not be the best information, but it was information. You could count a little on it. Oops, too much. You could a little bit count on it, right? You can't do that anymore, you know. And these numbers are bad. They're within the cone of goodness. The problem is this isn't going to help the film. It's not going to help the film. Weekend box office, it fell 57%. Then it fell 44% this last weekend. And this is not a lot of money. And it's still in that many theaters, 4,300 theaters. It ate up screens. Per theater averages are substantially down. And if you know anybody that's ever worked in a movie theater, they're going to tell you this number needs to be reduced. Because it's not selling anything. There's not a lot of people in these. They're averaging $5,359 per theater. No bueno. Look at these numbers. Ay. We're going to look at some international numbers real quick. The UK is the only place there. UK coming in with $24 million. That's higher than I expected, substantially higher. Mexico, though, $14 million. Not good. And then Italy, 10. Australia, 10. France, 7. Spain, 6. Germany, 5. Brazil 4. South Korea 4. Philippines 4. Oof. That means China's really a lot lower, doesn't it mean that? Yikes. China's had 32,000 theatrical showings of this film and has only made, under $4 million. Look at those numbers. Oh, excuse me. 36,000 theatrical engagements. $4 million. Disney's going to get 1 million of that. Yeah, the China number's probably from last week, Gonzalo. Okay, we'll give it. We'll see if we can hunt it down. But that's just very dismal. We'll have to see how it turns out. But when you really change something that has like audience appeal, you really wrecked it. I don't know. None of these numbers look good for Disney. They just don't. Are you surprised? Probably not. Yeah, I didn't see Japan on that report either. It wasn't in the top 10. So, and I don't think it did very well there either. I really don't. You know, and I don't see good numbers for Indiana Jones, and I know you might be tired of hearing of it. I mean, I did a video on it today. If you didn't get a chance to see it, you should. It's a really good one. Grant did a great job at editing once again. But the fact that they are truly anticipating an open of $60 to $70 million, potentially as low as $40 million, I don't think that's where you want to be. It's a holiday weekend. That's a holiday weekend. And if you look at the numbers adjusted for inflation just in domestic box office alone, understand, and I said this during the course of the video that I did today on Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, just Raiders, right? That film, adjusted for inflation, just domestically, over $700 million. When was the last time they were able to do that? Nuts. Nobody is clamoring for a new Little Mermaid. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I think Disney wants to argue with you. I'm not kidding. Somebody mentioned it earlier. I think it was Cavalryman. Cavatino Cavalry. Ah, my goodness. Cavatino Cavalryman Che wants to argue with you. Well, I mean, maybe he doesn't, but Disney does. I can't believe they're doing this. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Disney branded television green lights. Disney Junior's Ariel, inspired by the new Little Mermaid film, which was a flop. So yes, let's make a flopping cartoon. Culture's having a stroke. Yeah, I feel like it. Probably true. Oh, Mexican Iron Man's welcome to come on if he wants to. Since we don't got Tom right now, I know somebody who worked in the industry for a bit. They may join us, so that'd be a surprise. Dang it, Bob, says Mexican Iron Man. 100% right. Yeah, so Disney Junior's Ariel, inspired by Little Mermaid, inspired by a flop. It's coming to you. It was announced at the Annecy Animation Festival. Lots of things were announced there this week. The announcement was made today by A.O. Davis, president of Disney Branded Television. And new series follows a young Ariel, features fan favorite characters. Well, not fan favorite Ariel, different Ariel. It's going to debut on Disney platforms worldwide in 2024, where it will be not watched by very many people. Since it's not been produced yet, I'm not sure how you can say these things. Full of charm, big ideas, powerful voice. Wow. So indoctrinate early and often, because they're aiming at kids again, guys. They're aiming at kids. Speaking of aiming at kids, what's up, little Chad?
Hello.
Good to see you, man. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on Little Mermaid or this new?
I feel
Little
like
Mermaid?
you may remember a couple years back they did a Rocketeer cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Like the little girl Rocketeer character, and it bombed and just disappeared and went away. And I feel like this is going to do the same thing. So
yeah, and the thing is right. Okay, so I want to get back to the previous story from the numbers, right?
Mhm.
Should that film still be with its fall off a cliff? Should it still be in 4,300 theaters?
So I'm going to give the audience my bona fides here. I managed and worked at AMC theaters for about a decade, so I do have real world theater experience. In previous years, no way should this still be in that kind of theater count. It should have dropped down to around 1,400 theaters by now. But there's not enough content. Like, people are talking about how crowded June is right now. You're still only getting like one big movie, and all they care about are the IMAX and Dolby screens.
PLS.
So yeah, so if you have like an 18 theater, complex, you might, how many theaters are you going to be putting Transformers on, right? So you still got 5 to 6 theaters, 5, 6 screens a theater on these big multiplexes that you've got to occupy. So it's more a statement of the fact that there's not all the mid-tier movies you used to get that we would have on those screens are on streaming. So you're not getting like the adult movies where you would get a pretty decent screen average. You'd have one screen showing, like an adult comedy that would get, people coming in. They're not there anymore. So it's more just there's nothing to fill that space. And you got a lot of screens on these multiplexes. People don't realize, like, through all of the late 90s and early O's, you're talking 12 to 18 screens each theater when AMC was building them. So you just got to fill up space.
Yeah, and I think this is solid. This is solid right here, this take from Jeffrey Whitty. Movies have run into the issue that actors and writers have become a liability. Yes, they have, but not in a good way. And I waved at Katina, but I'm also waving at P. Lai. Good to see you, P. Lai and Katina Martin. Good to see you guys. But okay, so I mean, now with the theater conversation that we just had, where you're watching this thing fall off a cliff weekend after weekend, this film has no legs, right?
Oh, I mean, it's doing, like, from a domestic standpoint, if it did what it is going to do domestic, it's going to finish between 250 and 300 on its domestic run. Which, if it had done 400 or 500 international, it would have at least broken even. But it's getting nothing international. So, and that's what, like, if you look at the comp to Aladdin, and that's, I think, that comes up, and it's a fair one to look at. Aladdin, it's actually starting to fall behind Aladdin, but not dramatically. It's around, I think, 5 or 6 million behind Aladdin at the same point. So, but Aladdin was quadrupling it on the international market. Like,
well, and that's the ultimate thing, right? I mean, that's that ultimate telltale is if you are performing at the international level. And again, I mean, they've cut their audience in half at the very least. This is the comps to Aladdin, but you're starting to see it fall backwards, back from Little Mermaid, and it has been falling back slowly from Little Mermaid's falling back slowly from Aladdin. But again, the difference in dollars to the butts and seats just in those 4 years, right?
Yeah, if you scroll down on the numbers, I think they have the inflation adjusted domestic total.
Yeah,
which would be 405 million when it finished at 355, actual dollars. Yeah. I think, like I said, I think Little Mermaid finishes between 250 and 300. So even on unadjusted dollars, it's still going to be $100 to $50 million below Aladdin's domestic take.
Yep.
But but like you said, when you adjust for inflation, you're talking like almost a $200 million difference, possibly like 100. And then look at that international box office. Aladdin is finished at 691, and Little Mermaid has fallen off a cliff because now we're at the point where internationally we're getting big blockbusters, including family movies every week. It's not going to build on this. It's not going to have the legs. It's not like Mario where people are still going to see it or something. So that 185 is pretty much where it's going to end.
I think you're right, and I think that what's going to embarrass this film. What's going to embarrass this film is when that film comes out from DreamWorks, the one on the Kraken.
Oh yeah, that actually my son actually chuckles and liked that preview. I'll say that. Yes. So I gauge it by I have an 8-year-old son, so I like to use him as my gauge on what kids movies are resonating. Like we talked about it a while back when Mario previews were out. He was begging me to take him like as soon as it opened. He wanted to see Mario. I mean, he saw the Paw Patrol preview and is more excited about that than anything Disney is putting out. And so, I don't know. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, if I was the people who made the Little Mermaid live action, the only thing making me feel good right now is that Elemental is going to open this week and do so terrible that it may give me a little bit of cover at Disney. The fact that, hey, our movie at least, is doing well domestically. Yours is going to open to like $40 million, which is what like Ants opened to, that DreamWorks movie in the like 90s.
It was, I was going to say it's 30 years ago.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I have a frame of reference from when I worked there, and I tell my wife sometimes when we look at these opening weekends, and I was like, that was an opening weekend when I was at the theater in like 1998. A movie could make $30 to $40 million, and people are acting like it, especially when I see Deadline and that guy who does their box office is always rah-rahing everything that opens. And I'm like, you're giving a big thumbs up to a $40 million-ish opening in 2023. I was like, we were getting like Man in the Iron Mask open to that like in 1999.
And that was considered a flop, if I remember. So
yeah, it was the first movie that unseated Titanic for number one in its run for a while. It tied it, and then Titanic took it back next week. So it was like, but that's how bad it is. Like in the 1990s, like the opening weekends for movies then are what are comping to 2023. When you bring up inflation, you want to talk about ticket inflation from then to now, you're talking like 40-50% increases in prices. And that's the butt and seats argument, right? Even if like Little Mermaid, 250 to 300 is a respectable domestic. I think it's a good domestic number. If the movie had been budgeted at 100 to 125 million, you'd be a-okay. That's why Mario was great. It was $100 million budgeted movie, and it made $1 billion. So you're covering all those costs. And I just can't believe Disney is just spending like drunken sailors, and that's where it goes back to I think you mentioned Perlmutter. That was one of the main arguments. There's a lot of things they try to say was the reason he got moved out from. It's because he made Kevin Feige stay within budget. He told him like all the regular single superhero movies had to be $100 to $125 million budgets. And an Avengers movie was 150 to 200, and those make sense when you're looking at the economics of those movies. It means that domestic will give you a profit margin on every single Marvel movie. as opposed to what what he's spending now, where they're talking like $250 million for Ant-Man Quantumania. Like, what are you doing?
Wow.
You know,
And that's like and that's like oh, it should be a wake-up call. But look, I want to show you something because we were just talking about it. Elemental is going to be the only thing that's going to save somebody's job because it's going to open somewhere around, they hope, 31 to 41 million.
think about that. That movie's budget is at least $200 million.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Pixar budget under 200 in years. And what are you doing? That was, I don't know. I mean, and they're gonna, I'm sure that they'll say it was reviewed well, and someone will say it'll be a really big hit on Disney Plus. That's the Grace Randolph spin on a lot of these things now. It'll be a phenomenon on Disney Plus.
But
But they're also, I think we've talked about this before. Disney on paper pays $100+ million for streaming rights to these movies, so there's still paper losses going in there.
well, and here's the thing. I mean, it's a $200 million budget, right? They're going to open to 31 million domestically. It's going to make, at its best, which I doubt, 167 million. This film could domestically make less than $100 million.
I think if you look at the lineup going into theaters over the next 4 or 5 weeks, that's 100% on the table. Because next week is Indiana Jones, right? I think if I'm no, so I think that's right. Indiana Jones comes out not this Friday, but the Friday after. Then you got Mission Impossible 2 in July.
Yeah, I think it's July 12th for MI7 Dark Reckoning or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to remember people. And then here's the other thing. For family movies, you're talking about a commitment. If you've got kids, multiple kids, it's not cheap to take them to a movie.
Oh, here you go. Actually, it's 6:30. So it's June 30th. There you go.
Oh wait, so yeah, No Hard Feelings. That's the one that opens. That's what you're going to go see, right?
That's the one I'm going to go see, which is going to be great. Plus, I'm going to go see the Barbie movie. A lot of people are laughing at me for doing that, but I'm going to go see it.
I mean, I'm going to go on Tuesdays with my movie pass, so I can use the credits. Only $10 a month, and I will see a bunch. But
so
yeah.
Elemental 31 million, The Flash 72 million. Look, it's dropped 20% in its projection.
I don't see the Flash getting, like the more you see of the Flash, the more it's like, they're really, really leaning into Michael Keaton in all the advertising too. Like it's blatant. Like they're advertising a Michael Keaton Flash movie.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of unfortunately what it is, right? And there are like a handful of us that understand, the Keaton thing. The question is it going to bring a new generation, or because I mean, they're marketing it, or somebody suggested they market it as, hey, take your dad to see The Flash, because, they can relive the, Michael Keaton glory days, trying to get this guy to a different audience. But Ezra's not a movie star.
No, he's not. He's an indie movie guy, and that's where he's fine. Like Perks of Being a Wallflower and things like that, where you were budgeting a movie at $5 to $15 million. And that way, if it did anything at the box office, you'd be okay. And then you actually make your money. It's the old Canon Films model, right? Yeah. You make a little bit at the box office, but you really make your money at home video and now streaming. But
yeah, and they made money, but they made money for all the premium cable channels. I mean, the Canon Films were on everything. They were on HBO, Showtime, Cinemax. I mean, they were on all the channels.
And it's funny because it's the same lesson. You remember, and what was it that finally killed Canon Films? It was inflating budgets to the point, when they did Superman
they spent too much money. They spent too much money.
And Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
Those things were like triple the budgets of their normal movies. They spent way too much money. They were trying to get into being like, it's funny because it's the same thing that happened to Feige. Like you get sucked into Hollywood and you try to be Hollywood. Now you got to really be a Hollywood person. And then you screw up the thing that made you all the money.
And yeah, this is insane though. Jason saw The Flash last night. says it won't have legs. In other words, it's not a good movie. It's not going to get good word of mouth. It's not. I mean, Warner just has to dump these things. At this point, it's just like, can we get some money out of this trash fire?
Well, they cut off their legs. I mean, if I was David Zaslav, and it would be fun to be David Zaslav, I would be so mad at James Gunn for announcing the Cavill firing before these movies came out this summer.
Well, or just saying that they're, or wait until after at least this film, or maybe even, just say, as soon as we've finished up this year's slate, right at the end of the year, we'll announce what's going to happen.
Yeah, just like we're hard at work behind the scenes, we're doing the legwork.
Yeah, we're a new era in DC, right? Something like that. It could have made just a teaser like that, with old favorites returning and new favorites emerging. I mean, that's just marketing.
Yeah, so I would be, you're ruining the fan. Like, so the thing that could have helped you a little bit is, I mean, the Snyderverse people, they're committed. They'll go out and, be part of it. Maybe their numbers aren't as big as you want, but you need everybody you can get. So don't alienate any of them. And you'll be all right.
You killed a lot of interest because of no cap. You really did. Speaking of which, I want to say it's great to see Kareen here. KN Kareen for $4.99. Culture with a lot of thumbs up. Well, thank you, dear. It's great to see you. And you get a clip. Have you seen these clips? Yes, you have. Well, Chad, you like these clips. So we're going to say simple thanks to Kareen.
Wow, it's generous. I don't really get that kind of money, but glad you do. So thanks.
That's Kareen, not Karen. Say it right. Say it right. Jaffo's here. Lots of people popped in. But I mean, I'm looking at these numbers, a 20% drop per The Flash. And then I looked at Indiana Jones here, 17% fall off. This film is dead meat. These numbers are ridiculous.
I think that there's something that people don't want to talk about. And I think it's starting to percolate a little bit is when you talk about franchise movies, you're only as good as your last outing for keeping your audience. And what people forget about is I call it the Batman Begins effect, right? Batman and Robin was so terrible, it killed Batman movies for years. And when they came back, Batman Begins, which is considered a pretty good Batman movie, if you look at its box office, it was okay. It was okay box office, but it wasn't great. But it had to basically re-earn the goodwill of the audience.
Right.
And that's when Dark Knight is set up to make $1 billion when it comes out, because people are like, okay, this is a pretty good Batman take. I liked it. I'm going to go see the next one.
And you nailed it. That's exactly what happened too at the box office. They had to re-earn that audience, and they really did with Batman Begins. But Set like Gaming says the third act destroys any Flash rewatch. That's not good news, folks.
Yeah.
It's not good news.
Yeah. So with Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull made more money, and it made enough money. But it's like I look at it as the Transformers effect, right? Transformers made money until it didn't, and then it went off a cliff. What was the last one that made money? Was I think Age of Extinction, right? And it was powered by international. It had already fallen off the domestic cliff by that one, but it made enough money international. And now Transformers movies shouldn't be budgeted where they're at. They're not making that money. I'm going to say Indiana Jones, they screwed up because Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was bad, and they've waited so long. And then they got it, and then the people, like the ad with Phoebe, putting Phoebe Waller-Bridge anywhere near like the advertising is killing any momentum. Like, look at your audience, man. The people who like Indiana Jones don't want to see a naggy, harpy, on the screen emasculating Indy. Right, that's not cool. And so I think that Indiana Jones, if it's tracking at 105 to 76, I'm thinking that it's probably going to be lucky to be 70 to 80 at best. I think it might drop a little lower than that low end right now, and its high end is probably capped a lot lower. I mean, I don't see this making. I mean, we had our bet about John Wick. It's not going to make more than John Wick 4 did, because that was a happy, good franchise that was at peak. So, and then that one did what, about 82 opening weekend, if I remember. So
I think you're right. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
so
I just did all those numbers. So yeah, I think you're right in there.
yeah, there's no way Indiana Jones is going to pull more opening weekend at this point than John Wick 4 did. It's the same audience that would drive it, right? The same male demo that would be interested in John Wick is the male demo that drives Indiana Jones. And no, and this is going to sound callous, but there's a lot of people who might have gone to see Kingdom of the Crystal Skull who have aged out of movie going, who were Indiana Jones fans. You're talking about a franchise that started in the very early 80s, and it's 2023, the same way that Harrison Ford is kind of aged out of really being an action hero. A lot of the people who might have even still gone to see Indiana Jones, like my father's in the 70s, he went and saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He doesn't go to the movies anymore. And I think they're not factoring in how many of people are just retired from movie going that were in this franchise's audience. Which would be fine if they set the budget realistically. But what is this? This is like a $300 million budgeted movie. It's you've got to do, I don't know, $1 billion to break even on Indiana Jones.
It's well, and that's the problem with this enormous budget. I mean, right now it is nine. I was very conservative in today's video, which it sounds like you watched. I said 900 million. That's incredibly conservative. It's probably more like $1 billion, 950 to 1 billion, 950 to 1.05 billion. It's going to have to do some big numbers. To answer your question, Darth Gutierrez, as far as I know, it is still on path to be released on October 3rd, 2025, but so many things got stopped in its tracks. I wouldn't count on that date. Disney just pushed back their whole slate of everything, including their television shows. So, yeah, I think Warner Bros. Is probably going to have to follow suit. And since that kind of exists in its own Elseworld, I mean, I wouldn't even begin to tell you. But as far as I know, without any updates, October 3rd, 2025 is the Batman, or Pattinson's Batman 2, the Batman 2. So there you are. Sorry, I had to answer that question real quick.
No, it's no problem. Now, here's one thing. Like, look at Insidious, right, coming out July 7th. That's that's projected to take in 25 to 33. That's the New Line Cinema model, right?
Yeah.
It is what built Hollywood in the 80s and 90s. You make these low budget, horror movies that get you profit multipliers so much higher than any of these tentpole movies. That's what you need to keep theaters going and Hollywood actually going.
Well, and I mean, but look at it. I mean, it's Screen Gems. I mean, everybody who was in that mid-level tier, lower mid-level tier, when they're putting their stuff together, they live in a budget. They live on a budget, and horror films are always less expensive, so they're almost always profitable, right?
Mm-hmm. It's protecting your bottom line, and that's what you don't get when you haven't worked if you've worked in the theater business. What actually keeps theaters going wasn't the big tent poles, because tent poles are great and you make your money and that's fine. But if you're a movie theater, you need constant flow of people 12 months a year.
Yeah.
And what gets you are those medium and low budget movies that get enough people to show up and buy popcorn every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting wild out there. I mean, you've got, as I already highlighted here, they're not expecting, and I this is where I disagree with Box Office Pro, because I mean, I don't think this is right, because this will be the only kids movie that's out at this time, believe it or not. This Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, this thing's taking clear shots at Disney left and right. Universal has yet to miss with the DreamWorks thing in a while, so I think these numbers are low. What do you think? You think that's a good guess on my part, or?
I think that's a good guess, because I'm looking at let me see, what is it? The Bad Boys, right? Bad Guys. The Bad Guys came out last year.
It way overperformed.
Way overperformed, but its opening weekend, I think, was 23 million.
Oh, so it's pretty soft.
But that I think that was still, you know. So my point is, if the bad guys is making 23 million, I think it's pretty fair that that's your floor for like the Kraken Ruby Gilman.
Yeah,
movie.
I still think it's going to be fine. And like I said, I mean, I'm actually going to be seeing that film, so there you are. But Olaf's right here. He says DIE's knee has changed to be expected coming soon, no clear dates. I did it. I mean, a lot of people saw that pushback. I covered it on the 6-minute daily bonus time today. And you know what, Jeffrey Whitty, right now, it's just titles. You're right. And they had to change a title because it rang a little too close to home.
New World Order.
You can't say it. You can't say it.
Captain America World Economic Forum.
There you go. That's not going to help me either. You're going to put a banner on the bottom. Why did you do that?
All right.
I'm not a conspiracy channel. What are you doing?
That's fine. I'm sure. You know what? This new Captain America would probably be a fellow of that organization, because that way they can do better.
Yeah. Canadian Spider-Man's joining us. Good to see you, my friend. I think Short Round and Mutt would have been great in the Indy 5 film. There were so many missed opportunities, but no, they kill Mutt because Hollywood isn't like Shy anymore because he tells the truth. It's just, if you don't want people telling the truth, that's bad.
Yeah,
bad.
I think that's where, you know, the funny thing is when they go after people who have concerns and criticisms of this movie, and they call them istophobes of every variety, when we're like, look, we all would have been behind a Short Round reunion where he's the one coming in, like, because he was a beloved character and it was nothing to do with anything but that he was a character that was actually well handled. And you know what, you would have increased your minority representation even more, because Phoebe Waller-Bridge is just a harpy of a white woman. So we are proclaiming for more diversity, and you're calling us, racist for that. Yeah, that would have been great. Short Round is the obvious choice, honestly. Like Shia,
more than obvious choice. Just would have been great. So, hey, Tom's on his way. I hope he doesn't rush too much, because we've only got another 40 minutes or so. But I have not yet seen The Flash. I've seen a considerable number of clips from the film that you would normally only be able to see in theaters. I missed my screening because I had other stuff to do in my life because I traveled last week. I was on the road a lot. So I will be seeing The Flash in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days. So, yeah. Then I'll do a review on the channel. I'll do a very fair review. All right. The only marvel is they're still in business. Yes. Well said. What's up, Monkey Jeeb? It's been a minute, my friend. Great to see you. Just say Hollywood Hogan instead of NWO. That's right.
that was
great wrestling times, wasn't it?
That was the Monday Night Wars. That was peak. When there was competition and they cared.
There he is. There's my Tom. Hi, my Tom.
Hi.
I love you. I missed you.
I don't know why you would do such a thing.
Love or miss you?
Both.
I don't know.
What time the show was, genius?
11:30 Pacific.
When did you say this?
Yesterday.
You're lucky Six says you said it on the show, or I call you a liar.
I did.
Fine, I believe you.
You didn't have to rush, man. If you had stuff to do, I got a little Chad here. Little Chad. And now I have movie guy from the movie store thing, and I have movie guy from the theater thing. This is fun. I like this. Good times. Tom, did you have any thoughts on updated Ariel?
What now?
What now? You don't know.
No, I just got up literally.
Oh, no.
That's another place for a good wrestling clip. Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Oh, here you go. This is for you. Tom, you're excited, I can tell. Ba-bam!
What the fuck? Is this a joke?
Nope. For real.
This looks like a joke.
No, they just announced it in an EC.
And then to
animation
double the piss off, they made Flounder look like the old Flounder.
and normal Flounder, not Nightmare Fuel.
Oh, fuck Disney.
I guarantee you that Sebastian the Crab's going to look like old Sebastian as well.
I have to say, for as much guff as I give a lot of the modern, animation stuff, at least this looks cool in 3D. It really does. I think it'll be good.
I mean, it's Disney Junior. It's not going to, I mean, it's going to be on par with they did, was it the Muppet Babies? That was terrible. And all those other, it's going to be Doc McStuffins in the water. So,
yeah. But
the Rocketeer show I mentioned, which lasted for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, but I think it's interesting. Like you said, I just it pulls away from, the current theatrical live release. At least they went back to Flounder, because again, that Nightmare Fuel CGI was very strange. But we got a love for Tom in the chat. $4.99 from Kareen and /Kareen.
Hey, Kareen.
Do not call her Karen. You'll get in big trouble.
Oh no.
But thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Your thanks knows no bounds.
Your kindness knows no bounds. Except for whatever $sign you chose to stop at.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, it's just weird. And again, I'm not going to dive into it at all. I am just going to say, did you wake up to the news, Tom? No, this will be fun, because I don't think you know about this either.
I didn't hear the news today. Oh, boy.
Okay. Right.
Although I do know that Embracer's shopping around Lord of the Rings, because I guess that rumor I was hearing about them selling it was true.
Yeah, but
they burned through that Amazon money really fast.
Well, Amazon was one of the people at the table. I have no idea what's going on now, though. I've been so out of it the last 2 days with the flu. I have no idea what's going on.
I want to give you some love. Come and get your love, Tom.
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom!
Yeah. Don't give a shit. Yeah.
But look at it. Okay, so they pushed back Thunderbolts, right? Because,
which we heard was going to happen.
And they pushed back Blade because they got no script. They pushed back Kang Dynasty a whole year, from May 2nd, 2025 to May 1st, 2026.
Yep.
They pushed back Secret Wars from the 2026 to 2027. And 2024 is going to be strange, right? So
is it going to be Doctor Strange?
I don't know, but Brave New World, which is the new title for the new Captain America film, got pushed back to 2024. Thunderbolts is staying there, but moving to the end of the year, December 20th. Deadpool 3 gets a move to November 8th, 2024, right before Thunderbolts. I don't think Thunderbolts is going to do well. Blade is going to be on Valentine's Day in 2025.
I will put money down now that Blade movie never actually happens. It is a cursed.
Mahershala Ali was pissed about it, and I'm like, you know what? You don't want to piss off your star.
Which is funny. Blade should be the easiest one they could do that movie with like a $70 million budget. Blade doesn't need to have like giant, lights in the sky and armies. It's a horror movie, action horror. You can do those on a reasonable budget. You could John Wick budget that thing, and it would be a guaranteed moneymaker, and they're not going to do it.
Oh, you know what? Logic's Finest reminded me. So last night when I went to bed, Eric July's book, Young Rippaverse comic book, ISOM 2 was in pre-sales. All right. Let's see if we can get there. It was at 800,000 when last I checked. Now it's at 861,000 with 74 days to go. He obliterated where he wanted to go with this. He obliterated 750,000 to get to that animation that he promised everybody. So congratulations to Eric. He's killing it. Can he get to 1 million in 30 hours? I bet you he can. Silver. Shrap 3D says, you got the fruit? Yeah. Oh, wow. Set Light Gaming says, I purchased 4 bundles from iSom too. Awesome. Hey, Siege Perilous. Kang is done. Tom, do you think we see a Kang film?
Not with what's his ass in it anyway.
You think Jonathan Majors is over?
Yeah, I think so. Especially if things get any worse.
Do you know that they pushed the Avatar films back as well, including the 5th one all the way to
2031? Yeah. If James Cameron's not going to move on and do other things by then.
Here's a good question. Bad take, Brojan. Thank you, Tina.
Well, really, there shouldn't be any excuse for Avatar because as long as he's supposedly been working on them, he should already have them written.
They're supposedly written.
Then they should be shooting them.
Well, anyway, but Tina asked the question: is
Jason brings up Star Wars getting pushed back. They were never going to make those Star Wars movies.
They actually didn't push back the Star Wars ones. They pushed one. They adjusted one, but the other 2 stayed at the dates they had.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, I'm just on the penciled in on the calendar.
I don't see it. I don't see those films happening at all. But Tina, this is a good question. Is pushing back Thunderbolts a good idea when the new General Ross is Harrison Ford?
No. Because I'm not getting any younger.
I mean, you could look at it the other way and say it is a good idea because there's a distinct possibility he's gone and they get to recast him without, making a fuss about having to recast the old man.
For twice.
Yeah. Because it was Hurt before that, right? And he passed away.
I don't even know what's going to happen, to be fair. I have a feeling that what we think of as Marvel will no longer exist in 2 years. I think that smarter folks will prevail at Disney than the minds that are there now.
Can we? I mean, from the finance standpoint, they're going to keep this stuff on the calendar. It's like Tom says. There's a really good odds that a lot of those Star Wars movies don't get made. But if you want to keep your stock price at a threshold level, you better keep a Star Wars movie on the calendar so investors believe you've got that IP in production to for that paper value. But I think there's that's probably what's more like this. They get the benefit of keeping on paper that they're producing all these movies from their IP that have value on again to investors without actually writing any checks or committing to it. It's kind of a perfect thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, you got to artificially hold that stock price up, and right now Disney doesn't have a lot of good news to offer anybody. So, and you know what, Logic's Finest, I think a lot of us agree with you. Blade 2 may never get made, and Fantastic Four, if they make it, is going to flop. So, hey, Last Son of K says EJ is promising an ISOM statue at 5 million. Then I want it to get to 5 million because I want that statue. How about you guys? That'd be cool, right?
I mean, I have lots of I shouldn't say overpriced, but memorabilia and statues from comics and movie characters that are pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of having them on display, so I wouldn't mind having an ISOM option.
I think that'd be cool. I really do. And since we're talking about comics, Uncle E says he thinks it's going to make a 4 million. I think that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Especially with the fact that you've got repeat customers now. I mean, you can't underestimate as a comic book collector myself, like the collector mentality. Like once you're into a series, you want to keep making sure you get all the all the issues for it. And with this kind of separation, it's a lot easier to do that. I don't know if it'll. I think how much did the first ISOM campaign make? Like 3 million.
Yeah, 3 million.
Yeah, so I mean, I could see this one moving up incrementally to 4 fairly. That's all.
Oh, we're 2 years beyond, I think, when it wrapped the last campaign. No, that's not right. It's only been a year. So even though there's inflationary pressures, it would naturally indicate that it would go up. I mean, makes perfect sense.
Now, to this point, that Logic's Finest is making about a company as presently constituted may very possibly no longer exist in 12 months. There's rumors, and it's been covered by YouTube channels, that the Lucasfilm portion, at least, and possibly just the Disney IP, is for sale. If you wanted to inflate the value, you would make sure that you look like you had projects in production.
Oh, yes. Oh, especially if you're trying to sell off Star Wars. But hang on. Thank you, Jason. Jason is producing the show today. Let's just say thanks, Jason, for his production assistance. Our friends over at Clownfish TV run a little blog, just a little blog, called Pirates and Princesses. And they dropped some news today, oh boy. And it wasn't about the English army winning the war. No. Disney made a catastrophic error. They accidentally cast a prawn star in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, no.
What?
That's a good screenshot for that one, too. The grab with Ariel making the face.
Yeah, Disney accidentally cast an adult film star in the live action.
I don't think it was accidental. Now that I'm seeing gay porn.
And now they are declining to comment on the situation. The 24-year-old Stefano Tomadini, who makes adult activity films under the alias Dante Ferrari, was cast as a mermaid in the film. And yes, a quick search for the name on Google yields some NSFW results. Hokey smoke, kids. Wow.
Like, I haven't seen this movie. I've avoided it. What does this person play in the movie? Is he just like a background character, or is he
probably a background merman? So apparently, the adult film actor was cast as one of several male models for the film, and Disney was unaware of his previous escapades beforehand. His explicit films, for which he was paid up to £1,000 at a time, are still available to watch online. A source told the Sun newspaper. Casting bosses decided to hire a number of really sexy male models to play mermen in the movie. They had no idea about Stefano's racy videos, and given The Little Mermaid is a summer blockbuster for kids, it's a bit embarrassing for Disney. I don't even know how to continue reading this. Wow.
I guess they were a little focused on the other parts of casting, so they didn't really check.
Justin's like, that wasn't a mistake.
Well, it's like Tom said, they probably get extra ESG points for having him in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was a mistake.
It fits
I
their.
see it now. This is going to sound weird for me, but again, I mean, I love all people. I will say this: if this wasn't aimed at kids, it wouldn't matter. I mean, we've had crossovers from adult film to mainstream lots and many times, and even television. I mean, one of my favorite shows, Entourage, had an adult actress in it for several episodes. But
kind of fit a lot better on Entourage than it probably does with Little Mermaid. So
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that they're reaching Monkey Jeebus, and I understand your perspective. I truly do, my friend. But I think the conflict people will find in this is that it was aimed at kids. I think that's going to be the thing. Gonzalo's using Mike's line. Dang it, Bob. Wow.
I will-
Okay, so Bush Pan Down asked a good question. What would make you think it was accidental? Look at the people and the folks that make up this group of people at Disney, and they're not shy about their views. I get it. I understand where you're coming from.
It's one of those situations where I think if this happened 20 years ago, I would you can chalk it up to just kind of a comedy of errors. But you've got to wonder now, like, do I think that they were just being, cavalier about who they were casting, or did the casting director know this person and their choices and want to just give them work? I mean,
yeah, sorry. I'm trying to not be killed off by Six. I didn't see any DM that. So no, you're always welcome to work here. I think she's kidding. I hope.
No, she's in a mood today already.
I know 6 is great. Tiki Doom. I don't really care. This is the other thing. Okay, so when it comes to this, if it wasn't aimed at kids, I don't think I would care so much. It is amusing. I mean, it's funny. It's a bit of irony. For some, it's going to be schadenfreude. Other people are going to react at this rather negatively. People are going to say it's bad. It's just different. Cognitive minority, what's going on? Remember, Disney considers any adult behavior norm as oppressive and stops you from being the true free self. That's actually a good take.
I think this is one of the, again, situations where if Disney hadn't been doing what they've been doing the last 5 to 6 years, this kind of story just gets, brushed away and it's like nothing. But right now it's just another, piece that you can put on the pile that goes on, like, you're building your brand reputation. And they burnt it down so much, what their brand stands for in the eyes of people. This is just going to be now another thing that makes people not happy with Disney. In the 90s, if this had happened, and I'm sure, stuff like this may have happened with movies casting adult performers in the past. I know chat's mentioned several where it's happened. You would kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, but now it actually, this is one of the things with brand, right? How you value your brand. Once your brand shifts and people think of you a different way, this kind of story, instead of being a one-off that they ignore, becomes just another thing that reinforces what people think of Disney now. So it's just another thing for people to say, look at Disney being Disney again.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Sci-Fi Jason's got his 2023 bingo card is fill in the blank. I think people are there. I mean, Tree Rock says, what does Disney care about anyway? Adding to your point, Lil Chad. I don't know, man. I feel like I fell into the wrong timeline. I kind of don't belong here right now. I don't know about how you guys feel, but it's very strange. You know what? This is, I see where you're coming from here, Monkey G, but you're right. I mean, it only appealed to, a certain group of humans. It's very strange. Yeah.
One thing I'll say to people who, if you've got negative feelings on Disney and that kind of thing, if you think this stuff is bad, there's a lot of resources available about how, like Disney Channel TV shows were produced by an individual who's got a really bad record with actions towards underage people, and they let that person continue to work there and make shows for them because they were successful, even knowing.
I thought that was Nickelodeon.
I think they both had. Nickelodeon they both had producers who did that.
Well, stuff. that one person at Nickelodeon was here it is. Boom.
Yep. So I mean,
he's really head of the class.
Good one, Tom.
That's where joke.
I remember where he was in that, along with Robin Givens. A lot of class.
And the head of Paramount now too. Brian Robinson over at Paramount.
It's funny. I don't see that show on even the fast streaming services. It's like,
isn't it weird how
it got memory hold?
Totally.
I always wonder, like, when some of these shows from the '80s aren't available on any fast services, is like somebody must have done something bad, and they just don't want to put it back online, or rights issues, one or the other. But yeah, but those people are. There's a lot of bad people who've done a lot of things bad at both, especially at Disney. Like, if you want to, I mean, look at their record with their young girl actresses from Disney TV, and what usually happens once they get older. It's not a good record.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what, Tree Rock, you were right. We used to have to really look for the bad things. Now they're just out in front of us. I don't know. Now I'm bummed. Thanks, guys. Oof. And I thought the box office was going to be the thing we talked about the most. Hey, Tom, are you going to go see No Hard Feelings with me?
I don't know.
I actually think it might be funny. It actually, maybe. Hopefully.
I think so too.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to go see The Flash yet.
Are you going to go try to do it? Is that tonight or tomorrow? When are you thinking?
Well, it's tomorrow night, or it's Thursday night, actually.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm trying to figure out my schedule between figuring out a vehicle, getting on the prosecution again for
the
Star Wars for Chris
trial?
tomorrow, yeah, and everything else. I'm just
How's that going, by the way? Are you liking that? Good times?
I've only been on there once, but yeah.
Yeah, Darth Plato's going to pass on The Flash. I have to go see it. Like I said, if I wasn't doing this, or if reviews weren't part of what people wanted from the channel, I wouldn't see The Flash or No Hard Feelings. I don't think I would see Barbie either. But again, I was written a giant super chat to go see that, so I got to go.
Yeah.
Man, goodness gracious.
Do you think Barbie's going to actually make money? I just don't. That one's I can see that one. That one's one of the ones where it's going to go either really bomb or really make money, and I didn't see it coming. I don't see it being a middle.
I'm gonna do a poll instead of a show of hands, although I really do enjoy the show of the hands in the chat. Are you seeing No Hard
What are you doing?
Feelings? I want to see what they think.
What are you doing? Are you making a poll?
I did made a poll. It's in the chat. Yeah, that's right. Barbie has Alpha Widow tickets. Indeed, Jeffrey Whitty.
What is Alpha Widow?
The wall. Ladies love Barbies. Yep.
Well,
and their boyfriends and husbands will go with them.
I don't know who got to listen to the James Gunn interview this morning. I sent it to Andre, but I don't think he got to. We're starting to get our first write-ups from it, though.
And
Blue Beetle will be the first character of the new DC universe, but Superman is the first movie in the DC universe. So here we come with the double speak, like I was trying to tell people was going to happen with.
Is Blue Beetle
James
not a
Gunn.
movie? I mean,
it's a movie.
Yeah.
But it was made before he was the head of the DC universe. So what he's saying there's chances are Blue Beetle will come back, but this movie does not take place in my timeline, basically.
Well, is Solo going to be the Blue Beetle then in that one?
Going forward, probably,
okay.
yeah, I would imagine. That's if we get another one. I mean, this movie has to make money. And it already looks like The Flash is going to flop, even though Six said that her theater was selling out, I guess, all of a sudden. But
Six, is that true, dear?
I don't know. She probably took off. She was pissed at me anyway.
Let's see. I can usually gauge by I look at the theater I ran for years, and I see their pre-sales, and that gives me an idea of what it actually looks like. So Flash is opening Thursday. Let me check. The Dolby screen is only halfway full at prime time. It's not. No, that's not a blockbuster.
Dude, LML is gonna crash so hard. Oh my god.
I'm looking at the IMAX screen, and it's only a quarter pre-booked for like the 6:30, and the 10 o'clock has only got 8 seats sold. So Flash is that's going to be that's a $70 million weekend. That's like Black Adam kind of weekend.
It doesn't sound good.
No.
All right.
And
let's see.
I mean, the last movie, look at our last movies for DC going into The Flash. We had Black Adam and Shazam 2. Both of those royally tanked, like terribly. So you've got no momentum at all. Your marketing campaign is relying solely on people wanting to see Michael Keaton say he's Batman, but they've shown it in the trailers. So what do I mean when they show him in the suit?
Elemental has the same pattern of purchase seats in my regular theater location as the Flash does.
I think
It's
there's
the pre-purchase.
Yeah, and so family movies don't are actually, this is, my experience was they had a higher number of pre-purchasing because you're planning when you're taking your kids versus, so if that one is like with the Flash, you're going to probably still get a majority walk-up business, but the family movies tended to get the pre-sales because people are picking a time, bringing multiple kids, at least if they're going to do well. So that's bad for Elemental, and then Flash, I guess, could maybe magically get a lot of walk-up business, but we're Tuesday out before it opens on Thursday. Those are the motivated people.
Nothing has changed in the Flash screening I'm going to. The same 6 pre-sold seats are the same pattern as every other pre-sold seat for every movie that is coming out that is expected to flop. So some marketing company or some marketing arm is buying all these tickets that nobody's going to. It's just insane. It's the same 6 seats. That's statistically impossible for it to be the same pattern of seats in every theater. I'm taking a picture of those seats when I'm there too.
Yeah, I mean, I know in the old days before we had assigned seating, we had to lock off seats, but that wasn't something that you would even see on a. This is way before, in the old days, before internet sales, you had to cut off your movie sales at around 80% full for the theater, because if you didn't, even at 80%, you'd have enough people who snuck in or theater hopped that you'd have all your seats taken. It was a magic thing, right? Somehow we're 100% full on 80% ticket sales.
Yeah, they're definitely stuffing the box office right now, Jeffrey Whitty. Holy cow, we got a very wonderful and generous super chat from Set Like Gaming for $20. Thank you so very much. Hey, what's up? Live long and prosper, culture and friends. Indeed, my friend, indeed. Thank you for the generosity. I truly appreciate the $20 worth of support, which means you're a gold mine.
I see you have money. Want to take me on a date?
Thank you so very much. That was incredibly generous. I do appreciate the support. And I do want to say that I am looking forward to Oppenheimer. Very much. I don't know. Tom, are you going to go see Oppenheimer opening?
Oh.
I think Tom Cruise has a good point for himself, though. Like, I know that it's a Nolan movie, so they're built for IMAX and things, but if it's like, I've got Mission Impossible opening up and it's losing IMAX screens to Oppenheimer the next week, I can kind of see where he's coming from, that the people going to see Oppenheimer aren't going to be as committed to seeing it in IMAX. So maybe he should get to keep the screens.
Yeah, I mean, and then Logic's Finest is probably saying what a lot of people want to see: Oppenheimer, Dune 2, Mission Impossible. A lot of people.
I'm not even sure if I'll have a vehicle yet, so I don't want to commit to anything. And half of these movies I can see 35 days later on POV anyway, so what the hell's the point anymore? I don't have to drive an hour. Well, half the screens are the size of my TV anyway.
Yeah, I think we've been running into the theater experience dwindling away outside of the premium large formats. But Nolan is increasingly self-indulgent. Yes, they just really need to fix the audio on his film. He shouldn't be allowed to do the sound mixing. What do you think, Tom? I think that would help.
I don't know about the sound mixing. All I know is I liked most of his films up until like the last 2 or 3. And they'd start getting really pretentious. Like Interstellar was decent up until the ending. I thought the ending was preposterously dumb. And it's not that I don't get it. I just think it's fucking stupid. And same thing with his more recent one. I didn't even watch all the way through. What the hell is it called? Tenet. Like, again, it wasn't like I wasn't understanding what was going on. I was just sitting here going, why should I care? Right? I'm sitting here watching this couple argue about breaking or getting a divorce or whatever. And I'm like, I've been watching this movie now for close to like 40 minutes or whatever it was. Nothing has happened of any interest or any real reason or rhyme. And I kind of prefigured out the movie anyway. So when I read what it was about at the end of the day and how it ends up, I'm just like, oh, so it's kind of pretty much what I figured anyway. So it's kind of like him doing a reverse on Memento, only with time travel.
I actually enjoyed Tenet, but I understand.
Yeah, that's cool. I found myself going, I don't care about these characters.
Yeah.
About a third of the way into the movie. So I was just like, in other words, I don't care about this movie. It just seems so. There was just something about it that was unwatchable. Like, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm not trying to say anybody who watched it and liked it was wrong. I just had this issue with it that I couldn't get through it. And I was pissed because I spent so much on it for the Blu-ray and I never finished watching it.
I had to spend a lot of time explaining the film to people, and maybe that definitely leans into that
I don't even think that's it, though. Like, again, like, it's not like I wasn't understanding what was going on. I know the movie is about time travel, and I know how it ends up in the end of the movie, but like, we're going through all this shit, and I'm just like, why is this significant? Why do I care? Like, they're not. He's not making it inviting in any way. Oppenheimer at least looks interesting.
Well, I think luckily for with Oppenheimer, he's got history that's an incredibly rich story to tell. I mean, it's not even the first time it's been. I think
right, like
there was the Manhattan Project movie with John Cusack from way back when was pretty.
Like, I liked Dunkirk was probably the last movie his I really really liked, and again, a historical movie,
right? But the self-indulgent filmmaker isn't just like restricted to Nolan. I mean, I know that some people have very strong feelings about Nolan.
Taika Waititi's another great example.
No, but I think that there's a problem in Hollywood in general, which is for some reason nobody wants to edit. Like, none of these movies. I liked John Wick 4, but that movie was 40 minutes too long. There was definitely 40 minutes that you could take out of that and make it a much better movie. I mean, when I saw the runtime for The Little Mermaid, that they added an hour to the original movie, which was a perfectly paced movie as it was. Yeah. You know, why are we making things so long? Like, and not just from a movie theater manager perspective, where you can turn over more showtimes, which is, I mean, if you're not in a movie, it's not as big a deal because Hollywood screwed up theaters by not giving them a steady stream of content, so they get to sit in more screens. Like you were talking about at the beginning, Culture, like Little Mermaid should not be in that many screens anymore at all. It should be around 12 to 1400 screens right now. Yeah. But because there's so many screens available, because there's not any other movies to take them, it just gets to sit there. So that, you know, the show times per day problem isn't as big a deal as it was pre-Coof.
But for a company that believes in profits off of artificial scarcity, which Disney does in particular with its theme park business, they have a problem where they don't have any. That the film is ubiquitous and nobody's going to see it, or few people are going to see it. But I want to grab this super chat real quick from Pinochet's Helicopter Tours for $5. Thank you, my friend. Says, did you know that Robert Oppenheimer at the Trinity test site quoted the Bhagavad Gita, stating, "Now I have become death, the destroyer of worlds." Yes.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna, because they've shown it a little bit in the trailers. There was the discussion between the Manhattan Project scientists at the time. Like, there's a slight percentage chance that we could ignite the atmosphere and could pretty much destroy the entire planet when we set off this bomb. And they were like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's really low."
That was a really interesting quote. Like, zero was funny from Damon's character. I love that moment in the trailer. I hope I get to that. The rest of the film is as, you know, poignant. But Sherry enjoys long films. I mean, a lot of Indian cinema films are 3 hours long plus, and I don't mind that at all. No, but there's stuff going on in those films. I mean,
I would after having watched RRR, which was my first real experience with Indian cinema, after everybody like Chris Gore and New Culture was like championing that movie, I was like, I'll give it a shot. I feel like the reason that the runtime maybe isn't as much an issue is my experience with that movie was like, you got basically intermissions every 25 to 30 minutes where it completely shifted to like a dance scene or something else that was really, it shifted gears to give you a little bit of a break, whether that's just mentally sitting there or not.
Okay, so the best things in life have a rise and a fall, and then a rise and then a fall, and then a rise and then a fall. Those are the best things in life, and it doesn't matter whether it's music or cinema. You need that because you need those moments of respite to appreciate the thing that came before and the thing that's about to show up. And I think that's good pacing. You need that. You need that.
I mean, the editing bay is where great movies get made. I mean, it's not. Look at Star Wars. If you ever look up the history of Star Wars, it was the edit that made Star Wars great. It wasn't the original cut. It was when they actually started, because you got to pace things. It's like culture, like you just said. You got to create tension and action and rises and falls and rises and falls. And Hollywood right now is not good at editing. And that's why when a really well-paced movie comes along, it actually usually hits really good. Like the first John Wick, that was a tight movie. I think that was around 90 minutes.
It was a little over 90, but yeah, it was a good film. Yeah.
And it was paced, like everything moved. It kept moving. It had, like the little down parts, then the next part up, then down part, then the next part up. That's how movies used to be done on the regular.
Yeah. And for reference, for those of you in the audience, because this show will be coming in between Captain Phantom Nerd Show and Mr. H's H-Cast, we would have ended 6 minutes ago. So we will be here for an hour and 20 minutes for future episodes when Mr. H's H-Cast returns next week. We did lose somebody, and I'm not just talking about Treat Williams. Thank you to many in the chat. I think Deleted Scenes was the first one to alert me that Cormac McCarthy died, the author of many things, including No Country for Old Men. He passed away at the age of 89. He did a lot of different things, All the Pretty Horses, The Road, etc. So very reclusive. And the guy's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. So it's somebody that will no longer be creating or writing good things, and we need more of those people, not less. So that's a loss. R.I.P. What a bummer. I hope Six is still here.
No, I think she took off.
All right. Well, I'm going to need her help with production in the future. We talked about that, but she's been busy. So anyway. I don't know anything else. You guys have anything you want to plug? Because I gotta get us out of here. So,
why? What's going on?
I have replaced my Mr. H cast show with other things I got to get done. I stopped doing work so I could do this. Tom, how are you doing otherwise? How's Sadie?
She's pretty good. She's almost out of her pain meds, though.
Well, that's not good.
Well, she only gets so many weeks of them. Like 2 weeks or whatever. That's it.
Yeah, but you're not sneaking some of her treats, are you?
What the fuck? Why would I? I don't even think they do anything for a human.
I was teasing you. It was a joke. Don't
I got
try
my own narcotics.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. You want to plug anything? You have meets tonight, right?
Yeah, eventually.
Okay, cool. So
like
everybody,
3 hours.
Yeah, everybody go check out Tom's show, Midnight's Edge After Dark, on the Midnight's Edge After Dark show. That should be a lot of fun. Little Chad, you want to plug your channel, Ascendant Art?
Yeah, I co-host the Ascendant Art channel with Slender Dad, who's seen on Sporking's channel fairly often. So it's a fun time. Culture was on it. We just kind of hang out, talk about what we're gonna do. That
was so much fun. That was a good time. Got to check that out. It's a good show. You do a good job.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad. So, but this was fun. I actually, my co-host isn't as big into business stuff, so I have to drag him into these topics sometimes. So
for
I
me, it's
really
like,
like doing it.
okay, it's like, I just shift gears into a different business. For me, it's not that big a deal.
It's like, let's talk about let me talk about depreciation. Nope. Stop the podcast. We're not doing that.
And for me, it'd be like, all right, well, how about amortization?
It's like, well, let's get in. We're not even getting into how Hollywood creates giant mazes to make sure that no movie ever makes a profit on paper, so they never have to pay back end deals ever. Even billion-dollar profit movies will. I wonder if Nintendo is actually going to see money on the back end, depending on how that got structured, or if Universal was fair with them. But we'll see.
Well, everybody should check out your show. And thank you for being in the chat regular, my friend. And for all of those out there who are regularly in the chat, I appreciate your support. And for everybody who contributed to the show, Kareen and Setlick Gaming and Pinochet's Helicopter Tours and everybody, all the people who hung out, including our new member, Dr. Gonzo. Thank you. I appreciate that so very much. And with that, we're going to run the outro, and then I'm going to let Tom go back to bed. How's that sound? Sound good? Tom, you
If
awake?
I don't throw up first.
You awake now?
No.
Good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you over on Midnight's Edge after dark. Wait a minute. Nobody's going to go see No Hard Feelings? I got only 4% on that poll. Man.
Nobody cares, culture.